Peace and love, family. We're going to talk about what's going on with our people and what state we are in the dire situation and consequences that are going on right now. Um, a lot of us have no idea the truth, the ramifications, or the magnitude to what's happening to us as people of color, as I would say, supreme beings in this realm. Everywhere our people are, they're being attacked. Their presidents, African continents and nations being assassinated. And they're saying it's this and that. You know how the Satan paints a picture of deception, lies, trickery. Well, we're going to get into that right now, family. We're about to get into it. Let me start. Earlier this year, Africa, one of the countries on the African continent, lost a great leader in Magufuli. Magufuli stood up for his people. He didn't allow any other country to come in or dictate what was going on in his country and their people. They have a beautiful country over in Tanzania. You know, yeah, they're up and coming. The infrastructure is good. They didn't have many COVID cases, any of that. But we're going to read some of these brief articles, and then we're going to play a couple of news clippings about what happened. Then I'm going to give you my take on it, because I'm going to paint a picture for y'all today. And we're going to end up with the Haitian president and what's really going on and how it all ties in with one another. I'm not speaking against the World Health Organization. I'm not speaking against the CDC. Let me get a disclaimer. I'm just a journalist stating facts and alleged circumstances that could be happening. I'll say I'm not giving any medical advice on the pandemic or what a person should and should not do. I'm just stating my opinion on the facts that are presently available. So let's go, family. We're going to start here. Tanzania's president shrugs off COVID-19 risk after sending fruit test for testing. Magufuli caused alarm by branding lab tests as dirty game and hailing natural remedies. Now he is calling for the country to open up. You know, the World Health Organization and the CDC had shut down a lot of countries, and Magufuli called it a dirty game. He didn't believe in what they were saying about all of these people who were dying from this so-called disease, pandemic. So he decided to send mango and goat meat out to be tested. He tested the mango and the goat meat, and both of them came back positive for the pandemic. President queried Tanzania coronavirus kits after goat test. Coronavirus test kits used in Tanzania were dismissed as faulty by President John Magufuli on Sunday because he said they had returned positive results on samples taken from a goat and a pawpaw. I'm sorry, a pawpaw instead of a mango. Magufuli, whose government has already drawn criticism for being secretive about the coronavirus outbreak and has previously asked Tanzanians to pray the coronavirus away, said the kits had technical errors. The COVID-19 testing kits had been imported from abroad, Magufuli said, during an event in Chateau in the northwest of Tanzania. Although he did not give further details, the president said he had instructed Tanzanian security forces to check the quality of the kits. They had randomly obtained several non-human samples, including from a pawpaw, a goat, and a sheep, but had assigned them human names and agents. These samples were then submitted to the Tanzanian laboratory to test for the coronavirus, with the lab technicians left deliberately unaware of their origins. Samples from the pawpaw and the goat tested positive for COVID-19, the president said, adding this meant it was likely that some people were being tested positive when in fact they were not infected by the coronavirus. There is something happening. I said before, we should not accept it that every aid is meant to be good for this nation, Magufuli said, adding the kits should be investigated. So what he was saying is, these people playing a dirty game on us. We gotta take a couple steps back, because quote unquote, there's something happening. I said before, we should not accept that every aid is meant to be good for this nation. So everybody come bearing gifts. It don't mean that they got good intentions for you. Adding the kits should be investigated. As of Sunday, Tanzania had recorded 480 cases of COVID-19 and 17 deaths. But unlike most other African countries, Dar es Salaam sometimes goes for days without offering updates, with the last bulletin of cases on Wednesday. Magufuli also said that he was sending a plane to collect a cure being promoted by Madagascar's president. The herbal mix has not yet undergone international recognized scientific testing. Madagascar had an herbal cure. Their people was getting sick and the next day they were just fine. No one entertained that. Magufuli stated, "I'm communicating with Madagascar," he said during a speech, adding, they have got a medicine. We will send a flight there, and the medicine will be brought into the country so that Tanzanians too can benefit. Okay, y'all see where this was going. Just pay attention and follow what I'm reporting to you of truthful news, world news about people of color, and truthful numbers about their countries. These are so-called third world countries, lower level countries. I know Haiti is. Haiti is the poorest country on this continent, on this earth. And you'll see their numbers as we go along. What is the real truth about COVID? John Magufuli, Tanzania's COVID denying president dies. These are the reports. This is the propaganda, and this is where we start. President John Magufuli's death at 61 years of age followed a familiar pattern among African punitive strongmen. Denials that he was sick, followed by the secrecy as to the circumstances of his dying and where it happened. Magufuli, like other African heads of state, apparently sought treatment outside of his own country. Rumors had it either in Kenya or India, perhaps both. Vice President Samia Suluhu, announcing the president's death yesterday, said the president died from a heart condition, a heart attack, and that he had been treated at 2 different hospitals in Dar es Salaam, the commercial capital. However, in social and traditional media, both in Eastern Africa and elsewhere, rumors that the president had contracted COVID-19 had been circulating for more than a week. The mystery surrounding the true nature of his death could remain unsolved. All over the media, they were saying that this president died he was missing for 2 weeks. No one knew where he was. I'm going to play the clips for you. but their country had low numbers. You all can read the articles here. Coronavirus in Tanzania, the country that's rejecting the vaccine after he dies, though. No one knows now because we have bloggers over there and their country is flourishing. Never stopped, never had anything going on. Their people are going by life and fine. But once he dies, they want to report that there's this thing going on now after a year and a half. But let's get to the numbers. I want y'all to see the numbers. Right here, you got Tanzania. As to date, as of yesterday, they have 509 cases, 183 reported recovered, only 21 deaths. You see how these people play games? How can you have 509 cases and only 183 recovered, but only 21 deaths? They only have 21 reported deaths, while the US has 606,000. Let's look at Haiti's numbers. As to date, only 236 deaths reported by them. The poorest country, there is 11 to 15 million people, only 236 deaths. Something ain't right. We the richest country on this earth, supposedly. We got 333.8 million cases, 606,000 deaths, almost 500,000. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. These two little old poor African countries that reject it. You gotta realize they rejected that thing. They rejected it. Let me go back to the article. But they ain't, look at their death total now. Look at the death total before I change the slide. 21 deaths a year and a half into the pandemic. 236 deaths a year and a half into the pandemic. The country that's rejecting the, what that say right there? vaccine. Keep in mind. Keep in mind. Let's play this clip.
Let's now have a quick look at what's happening in Tanzania. It's a curious case of a missing president. Tanzania's President John Magufuli has not appeared in public since the last 17 days. This despite clamor of rumors of ill health. The Tanzanian authorities are yet to provide clear answers about his whereabouts. The mere question is now leading to arrests as the government seeks to contain the rumors. Magufuli last appeared in public on February 27th. The fervent Catholic has missed 3 Sunday services where he would often address the congregation. Just days before, Finance Minister Philip Mapango appeared coughing and gasping at a press conference to dispel rumors he had died of COVID-19. Magufuli had for months insisted the virus no longer existed in Tanzania and had been fended off by prayer. He has even refused to wear a face mask or take lockdown measures. Magufuli had mocked coronavirus tests. In fact, he denounced vaccines as part of a Western conspiracy to take Africa's wealth. The country stopped releasing case data in April 2020. The opposition parties in Tanzania have urged the government to explain the mystery surrounding President Magufuli's nearly 3-week absence. The opposition say the public has the right to know about his whereabouts and who is running the country. On Friday, Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa said that Magufuli was strong and working as usual.
Okay, I want y'all to keep in mind this word opposition party. opposition party. Opposition party. You're going to hear that again down in Haiti, the opposition party. Who backs these opposition parties? Who's putting these opposition parties in place? See, they want you to be ignorant to the facts and the truth, and they want to sway the narrative into their direction, but it's over now. The ancestors say it's over now. See, I think nothing's done by chance and everything's done at the right time and for a reason. They have lost the spiritual war. That means they have no power. They're running off blood, off of our blood. They're using blood ritual. The lowest form of spirituality, blood magic. They're using our energy against us. But just let's move on. We're going to paint this picture.
With global coronavirus cases crossing the 3.5 million mark, many countries are desperately trying to scale up their testing capacities. Several countries turned to the original epicenter of the virus, China, to get testing kits and other equipment. And many of these have been left bitterly disappointed over their quality. Now, Tanzania has joined the likes of Spain, the Netherlands, India, and Turkey in declaring Chinese testing kits as faulty. Reports of faulty COVID-19 testing kits from China have become common these days. Spain has twice sent back defective testing kits to China after they were found to have very low sensibility. However, the African nation of Tanzania had to reject these kits for an entirely different reason. They are showing positive results, but not the kind that the government wants to see. Tanzania's President John Magufuli rejected the Chinese testing kits as faulty, saying that they showed positive results on samples taken from a goat and a pawpaw. The faulty testing kits might add to Tanzania's COVID challenge. The government is already being accused of cover-ups by its citizens and the laxity by the World Health Organization. Officially, Tanzania has reported more than 475 cases of COVID-19 and more than a dozen deaths. But experts believe that the outbreak may have already spread far and wide across the country.
A dozen deaths. Come on, family. I'm just reporting the world news. We're gonna follow this road that I'm traveling down. I want y'all to follow this road that I'm traveling down and follow the pattern of what's going on. This is a timeline that we're doing here. Sad news.
Thank you for the good job.
The last time John Pombe Magufuli was seen in public, he was carrying out official duties and not wearing a mask. Not long into his second term in office, he suddenly vanished from public sight. After 3 weeks of speculation came the announcement from Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan on state television.
We lost our leader, President of the Republic of Tanzania, the Honorable Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, who parted this life from heart complications in hospital in Dar es Salaam.
Rumors had been swirling that Magufuli had sought treatment for COVID-19, largely fed by opposition leader Tundu Lissu and Kenyan media. The government denied the reports and arrested at least 4 people who'd speculated about his health on social media.
The opposition leader spreaded rumors that he died from what? The man had a pacemaker. He died from heart complications. We don't know, because he was missing for 2 weeks. We don't know what they did to him. Brazen blood rituals off of our blood, our people. We don't know what truly happened to the man. We know that he was a warrior for his people, and he had their best interests at hand. And they had what, at that time, a dozen deaths? And who's to say the people died from what they died from? Because the tests were what? faulty? Let's finish.
Kama tulivyo hapa leo kwenye
In all this government, no one wears a mask, including me. It proves that there is no coronavirus, and God loves this nation.
President Magufuli was more than a coronavirus skeptic. His government stopped sharing data with the World Health Organization last year and declared Tanzania COVID-free through divine intervention. The official tally still stands at 509 cases and 21 deaths all these months later. He displayed a disregard for health advice, focusing on prayer and local remedies, while also claiming the vaccines were dangerous. This drew condemnation from the WHO and the Roman Catholic Church. Magufuli's COVID denial had turned into policy for a nation of 60 million.
The ministry has no plans to receive vaccines for COVID-19, which are already in use in other countries.
The WHO has repeatedly asked the government,
has no plans. We're going to go to another country that just lost their black president. A black country, another black country. Gunmen disguised as US DEA agents assassinate Haitian president, ambassador says. Haitian President Juvenal Moussaoui has been assassinated and his wife wounded by a squad of unidentified gunmen during a raid on his private residence. The country's interim prime minister, Claude Joseph, announced the news in a statement on Wednesday. Mr. Moussy's wife, First Lady Martine Mousy, had been hospitalized, he said. The country's security situation is under the control of the National Police of Haiti and the Armed Forces of Haiti, Mr. Joseph said in a statement from his office. Haitian ambassador to the United States, Vakshak Ekman, told Reuters the gunmen falsely identified themselves as agents from the United States Drug Enforcement Administration, citing video footage the government has in its possession, but added, no way they were DEA agents. The attack was carried out by foreign mercenaries and professional killers. Well orchestrated, Mr. Edmonds said in Washington. The First Lady was in stable but critical condition, and efforts were underway to move her to Miami for treatment, he said. The DEA has an office in the Haiti capital to assist the government in counter narcotics programs, according to the U.S. Embassy. However, State Department spokesman Ned Price said reports the attacks were DEA agents were absolutely false. I'll keep going. It's a lot of devils involved in this. You got to know about opposition parties. I'm going to play some clips from this for you too. Haitian assassins falsely claim the U.S. drug agent's envoy to the U.S. says Haiti's interim leader is asking for U.S. troops to help with security. Opposition leaders, you got to remember that word.
Tonight, the nation of Haiti is reeling after the assassination of its president inside his home. Haiti's First Lady was wounded in the overnight attack, but survived. Here is CBS's Ben Tracy.
The attackers seen here approaching the president's residence in trucks apparently pretended to be agents of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration in order to get past security guards. The gunmen broke into the home of Haiti's president early this morning. Then shots are fired. They assassinated the 53-year-old Haitian leader, Jovenel Moïse, and also shot his wife, Martine. She survived and was brought to a Miami hospital for treatment. Vehicles and walls outside the compound were riddled with bullets. Haiti's interim prime minister, Claude Joseph, called the attack a coup and said the gunmen were speaking English and Spanish. He claims the country's security is now under control. Late this afternoon, police said they had the killers surrounded.
I was
awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning by gunshots, heavy gunshots.
Magali Noel Dress is a business owner in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Everybody is very worried about the security because one, the head of state is gunned down. Anybody could go down. The streets are empty. Nobody's out. This is very heavy.
Haiti has been in turmoil for months as President Moïse became increasingly unpopular for clinging to power after his term expired. There are now fears of more violence.
We need a lot more information, but it's very worrisome about the state of Haiti.
You know, when certain people take power, it's a pattern. You remember under the Obama administration and Hillary and all of the murders they were committing over in Libya, sacrificing human American soldiers and not being held accountable for them, allegedly. The murder of Gaddafi, they told you he was this horrible person. But every married couple got $600,000 land, no taxes, living free from their government. One of the richest countries on earth. But all of a sudden, this opposition party shows up. Opposition party shows up, murders their president, and the slave trade resumed in Libya. Slavery resumed in Libya. After a US-backed opposition party murdered their president because he was such a bad person. Haiti has been in turmoil for the past few months with kidnappings. Kidnappings. Let's keep going, family.
Haiti is in crisis after the assassination of the country's president, Jovenel Moïse, last week. The country's interim prime minister and Senate president are now struggling for control as investigators search for the motive behind the attack. Haiti is asking the U.S. and UN to deploy troops in hopes of stabilizing the situation. The Biden administration said on Saturday that there are no plans to put boots on the ground there. Joining us now with more is Catherine Porter. She is a foreign correspondent with the New York Times. Hi there, Catherine. So the last time a Haitian president was killed, more than 100 years ago, U.S. Marines occupied the country for nearly 20 years. In this case, we just heard that President Biden's unwilling to put U.S. forces there at this moment. But what type of assistance has the Biden administration offered?
Well, it seems that the Biden administration is willing to send investigators to help with this investigation into who killed the president of Haiti. We understand that they've announced that FBI and DHS agents will be going to Haiti shortly to help with an investigation. So far, that's what the commitment has been. We have not heard, the Haitian interim government has been asking for military presence to secure the country, they say, and to secure infrastructure right now and allow elections to go forward. But there is no appetite, it seems, from the White House to do that. And rightly so, I have to say. I mean, it's very interesting. There is this history in Haiti of the United States appearing in forms of troops, sometimes welcome and sometimes not.
We're gonna help you with the investigation. That's just like stuff that go on in our communities with people who set their friends up to get murdered. And then they be out there helping look for the person who murdered, when all the time only nobody knew how to do what it was you. This somebody, but you got to remember, they only had 200 and some cases of deaths, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't want no shot. It's another country that didn't want no shot. Now, these niggas ain't following the plan. You know what I'm saying? They ain't following the game plan. Okay, you don't want to do what we tell you to do? I got something for you. Oh, I got something for you.
In a world lead, a nationwide manhunt is underway for the foreign hit squad behind the assassination of Haiti's president. Authorities say more than 24 people were involved in the murder, including Haitian Americans and Colombian ex-military. Now, as Haitians take to the streets, including Haitian Americans.
What that shirt say?
And Colombian ex-military. Now, as Haitians take to the streets, the White House is sending FBI and Homeland Security officials to Haiti to assist in the investigation. CNN's Matt Rivers reports from Port-au-Prince.
Now, you see how they're reporting people all out in the street. See, those are old clips from when they created the turmoil before they assassinated the man.
Ex-military. Now, as Haitians take to the streets,
See,
the White House is sending FBI.
This was the other day. Now, when Haitians take to the streets. Now, let's see what this woman says about the streets after he's assassinated.
Tonight, the nation of Haiti.
Real reports. Oh, she's there. This is real on the ground reporting, real journalism.
Grounded.
I was awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning by gunshots, heavy gunshots.
Magali Noel Dress is a business owner in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Everybody is very worried about the security because one, the head of state is gunned down. Anybody could go down. The streets are empty. Nobody's out.
The streets are empty. Nobody's out. Well, what did good old fake news say?
In a world lead, a nationwide manhunt is underway for the foreign hit squad behind the assassination of Haiti's president. Authorities say more than 24 people were involved in the murder, including Haitian Americans and Colombian ex-military. Now, as Haitians
including Haitian what?
Take to the streets, the White House is sending FBI and Homeland Security were involved in the murder, including Haitian Americans and Colombian ex-military. Now, as Haitians take to the streets, the White House is sending FBI and Homeland Security officials to.
As Haitians take to the streets.
Tonight, the nation of Haiti.
I was awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning by gunshots, heavy gunshots.
Magali Noel Dress is a business owner in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Everybody is very worried about the security because one, the head of state is gunned down. Anybody could go down. The streets are empty. Nobody's out. This is very heavy.
Haiti.
The streets are empty. Nobody's out. Can you say propaganda and lies? But there's one common enemy. Mzungu. Opposition party. Who funds opposition parties? Who did President Trump say was behind all of this? See, we got an old spirit that's been lingering on these shores for over 400 years. This old spirit been around thousands of years. When they came to the scene, he say, don't integrate with her, my people. That there's demonic. They run off blood. See, when they can't get that blood, they wither away and they die. Vampires. They create the devil is the master of what? Deception, propaganda, and lies. You say the streets are what? See this again, what they say.
Military. Now, as Haitians take to the streets, the White House is sending FBI and Homeland Security officials to Haiti
Now as Haitians take to the streets. Now this woman that's in Haiti.
Tonight, the nation.
Noel Dress is a business owner in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Everybody is very worried about the security because one, the head of state is gone down. Anybody could go down. The streets are empty. Nobody's out. It's
Another what was arrested?
Now to Haiti, where police say they have arrested one of the masterminds behind the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. Moïse was gunned down at his home last week. Officials suspect that the arrested man wanted to oust the president and take over himself as head of the country.
Police have identified the suspect as a Haitian national. Other reports say that the man was a US resident. He arrived in Haiti on a private plane to fulfill political objectives. He had had contact with a private security company to recruit some of the people who committed this act. Police had already arrested a number of Haitians and Colombians suspected of being part of the assassination unit responsible for last week's killing of President Jovenel Moïse. But many questions remain.
I'm gonna stop sharing this right quick, and I'm gonna share another screen. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go here. I'm gonna look something up right quick. Excuse me.
More than a year into the pandemic, Haiti has no single vaccine for its 11 million population. This has raised concerns among health experts of the well-being of Haitians as political instability in the country deepens. The government is supposed to give us masks to protect us against the coronavirus, but they don't give us the masks, and we don't know where to go and buy them. They sell them at high prices and we're not able to afford it. We're poor, therefore we don't wear masks. The coronavirus hasn't hit us. Haiti is expected to receive 756.
See, propaganda, but she said, what, it hasn't hit us. We're a year and a half into it and we ain't won not one and it ain't hit us. It hasn't hit us.
6,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines through a UN program aimed at getting the jobs to neediest nations. The free doses are expected to arrive in May at the least. If I have 3 million doses of vaccines, first, do we find a safe place for storage? Second, do we have the capacity to use all the doses before they expire? Because when you receive the vaccines and start using it, it could expire. We have to know all these details before we can start receiving the vaccines and saying that it's available for people to get the vaccines. Meanwhile, a spokeswoman at the Pan American Health Organization has commended Haiti's pandemic efforts, including reinforcing hospital preparedness.
Stop that. You see, they say a year and a half, they hadn't worn not one mask. and they only have, well, 236 reported deaths. Something ain't right. The poorest country on earth, they ain't wanted no jabs. They ain't got no jabs. They keep trying to force it on them. They won't take them. And they ain't got nothing like we got. 38.8 million cases, 606,000 deaths. They ain't 11 million people. They ain't, ain't nobody, it ain't hit them yet. They ain't sick. Tanzania only had 21 deaths a year and a half into it. They wasn't reporting no cases. But see, their president ended up dying. Now we got to get them that Haiti. Their president ended up dying. We got to get them that. But don't look like they need it. The poorest places, allegedly. I say the devil is the master of deception. We're going to go to Cuba, because I know y'all been seeing on the news here lately. All Cuba people, they tired. But last year when we didn't know which way to go, what was going on over here, Cuba was over in Italy saving lives.
Over the last 50 years, Cuban doctors have saved millions of lives in Latin America, Asia, and Africa. Now, for the first time, a Cuban medical brigade is on the way to Europe.
There are 36 doctors behind me and 15 nurses. I've spoken to some of them over the last couple of hours, and I can tell you they're very proud. They insist they're going to Italy of their own free will.
You see the color of them back there? See that color back there?
But many of them are very nervous.
Of course I'm scared, but when we went to fight Ebola in West Africa in 2014, we were scared too, but we fulfilled our mission there and we all came back.
What we're going to do is cure and bring relief not only to the Italian people, but the world's population. This is a global battle and we have to fight it together.
Why are you going on this mission if you know that Cuban doctors have died on past missions?
Because we are the Cuban people. This is Cuba, and we're always going to keep fighting.
Remind you, Cuba has had a cure for lung cancer. Been had it. Millions of people over here dying with it. But Cuba been had a cure for it for years. Why you want to bother these good people? But let me show you the true color of the doctors that were sent that got off the plane. See that? See how media whitewashes things. The true color. Watch these doctors that arrived in Italy. Look at the color. See, this evil has been lying on our people for years. The propaganda and the lies have to stop. But it's a pattern. Y'all remember what was going on in our country last year during the elections? And you know, the Democrats, they got a old playbook they use all the way back from 1865 when they created the Ku Klux Klan on Christmas Eve. And then the Night Riders on New Year's Eve, 1966, to terrorize Black people. Because they own land and own banks. See, that old spirit. See, my channel ain't about arguing and going this way and that way with people that look like me. It's about telling the truth and riding on down the road, moving past this evil, leaving it behind us. because that's the only way that we gonna make it through. But I want you to see something. What this look like to y'all?
Thousands taking to the street of Havana and at least 14 other cities in protest over the weekend, demanding an end to the 62-year dictatorship and protesting the lack of food and COVID vaccines. They were the biggest protests in decades in a country with tight police control and surveillance on dissidents. Demonstrators attempted to broadcast the protests live with their cell phones, but Cuba's authorities cut internet service on multiple occasions. Yesterday, NBC News reported that the streets of Havana were quiet overnight, and there was a heavy military and police presence. There were also pro-government groups in the streets in sections of the city where protesters clashed.
Okay. Now, they people fighting for vaccines because they ain't getting vaccines. But their doctors are being flown to European countries in Africa and curing people of this. It don't even sound right. You see, this is what America's news network is putting out. It was a bill passed in 1948 for them to lie to you in the media, for them to push their beliefs off on you, and it'd be legal. Like I showed, what CNN showed the other day, people are taking the streets in Haiti after the president died. The woman from Haiti said the streets are clear. People aren't even coming out. This looks like, oh, Black Lives Matter to me. Oh, Antifa to me. Same old thing. You see, Marxist. Ain't that what the leader of Black Lives Matter said when she took y'all money and ran off and bought mansions with her Mzungu wife, going against the nuclear family? Give me a second, family. I'm gonna let y'all listen to the rest of this.
With the police earlier yesterday.
And the eyes of the world are on Cuba. The world now can see clearly the true face of the Cuban government. I have been in contact with the U.S. Department of State, and they are monitoring the peaceful protests in Cuba. We're asking Miamians to peacefully protest and to avoid any incidents of violence, and I'm urging them to understand that there may be provocateurs from the past regime who may be looking to create confrontation. The regime must end now. It is not negotiable.
Oh, now it was a man from American from Haiti, they say was behind the murder of the Haitian president. And who is this? Saying that he's in America talking about somebody in another country must be killed. The other country that was going and curing people now. They going over Europe and curing people when they didn't have no way out and they had deaths everywhere. They sent their black doctors over there and they did their thing. With 47 deaths, oh, they have 47 deaths out of a year and a half. We got to get them out of there because they ain't got no. You see the pattern? You see the pattern.
Folks, I want to start by recognizing the remarkable protests that are taking place in Cuba. The Cuban people demanding their freedom, from an authoritarian regime. And I don't think we've seen anything like this protest in a long, long time, if quite frankly ever. The United States stands firmly with the people of Cuba as they assert their universal rights, and we call on the government of Cuba to refrain from violence or attempts to silence the voice of the people of Cuba. And we're also
How these people figure they can fix some other people supposedly problems and you can't fix your home? Hypocrites. Hypocrites. You got children being murdered in the streets and you wanna,
also closely following the developments in Haiti in the wake of the horrific assassination of the president that recently took place. The people of Haiti deserve peace and security, and Haiti's political leaders need to come together for the good of their country. Over the weekend, I dispatched a high-level expert delegation to assess the situation and to determine where the United States can offer our support. And finally, as a close neighbor and friend of the people of both Cuba and Haiti, the United States stands ready to continue to provide assistance, and I'll have more for you as we move on.
Cuba and the United States ain't had no relations in a long time. The devil is a lie. The devil is a liar. Now they say these people fighting for because they want the, but they doctors was going in the heart of this pandemic when everybody was dying like hell over in Europe. They didn't call the United States. They called
Over the last
Cuba.
50 years, Cuban doctors have saved millions of lives in Latin America, Asia, and Africa.
Over the past few decades, Cuban doctors have saved millions of lives. Millions. And when we didn't even know what was going on, supposedly, allegedly, they were saving lives. They calmed the storm on the Europeans.
Now, for the first time, a Cuban medical brigade is on the way to Europe.
They went to Europe and stopped it in the heart of their pandemic. And this is them getting off the plane. But no.
And the eyes of the world are on Cuba. The world now can see clearly the true face of the Cuban government. I have been in contact with the U.S. Department of State, and they are monitoring the peaceful protests in Cuba. We're asking Miamians to peacefully protest and to avoid any incidents of violence, and I'm urging them to understand that there may.
Who is this? And you gotta look again. Both of these people who are involved in these other countries' affairs and talking about their presidents and how they got and the assassination of one and how this one got to go in the state of Florida. They both in the same city. Talking about one Cuba, one Haiti, independent nations that ain't got high cases. Haiti only had 236 deaths. Tanzania only had 21. Cuba was curing it. I don't think I'm crazy. I don't think that at all. Matter of fact, I am very sane. I take time, I read, I study, I do research. We've been hearing on the news where they gonna come knocking on our doors, people who don't got it, with the military. What's going on, family? What's going on? They're killing these black presidents and these people who helping people. They don't have outrageous death rates. Poor people, they don't even have the resources. They don't even can't afford masks, but it ain't hit us yet. But they put propaganda out there. They got the people scared because it ain't hit us yet. We have to become who we are spiritual. I live in the ancestors. I live through them. Oh, they all over me. They cover me. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I'm not in the way. I'm not going to march. I'm not going to be around any infiltrating spirits on our ancestors. Those demonic entities that claim to be for the people but pillaging our community every day. They'll set you up, have you walking out there with guns and throw their hands up and walk away from you. After they done walked you into that fire, that's that demon. That's that demon. And boy, you on that blood, you running off blood, and that's the lowest form of magic you can get. But I'm gonna let Mambi take us out. I'm gonna let her explain what's really going on.
To all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits, through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways, beloveds, and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. Thanks to every single person that is subscribed to this channel. Go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't already, it's absolutely free. Make sure you check that you're still subscribed if you'd subscribed before, and be sure to hit that notification button so that you find out every single time we upload a new episode. Thanks to everyone that emails us. You can always email us. I mean, we get some crazy questions sometimes. So I'm even resisting to say this. Maybe I'll create a separate email. But for now, you can email us, Ask Dr. Mumbi, questions at drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. And we usually pick the most popular ones that we get every month, beloveds. But really, it's time to do some adulting, beloveds, and really take spiritual responsibility for your own life. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about the blood sacrifice. What is the purpose of the blood sacrifice? Why has this entire regime, entire system run on the blood sacrifice system? What's up with that? And we see it with the fact that the God of their age, the one that they've put, that is ruling this world, is Jesus, who is a sacrifice, literally, on the cross. That's how they celebrate him. I mean, people even wear crosses. And it's because it's all about this blood sacrifice ritual, beloved. And many Christians don't get it. I always wondered, what do you think when you're drinking the blood of Jesus and eating his flesh? I mean, what's that about? Have you ever questioned that? That's a ritual, and that ritual has been extended to so many levels, beloveds. Where the highest level, witches and wizards, in your family sometimes, they'll put a spirit in a goat, then they'll invite you to go eat that goat, and then you'll be eating the flesh and drinking the blood of one of your own. I mean, the blood sacrifice culture is real, beloveds.
and it has ruled for a long time, but it's like it runs on borrowed energy. And so if you're running on borrowed energy and not the authentic energy, then you won't last forever. And that's what we've seen with this, you know, that's why this blood sacrifice cult is literally losing power. And that's why this matrix is falling. Because it was all built on other people's energies, mainly the melanated people's energies without them knowing. But you see, the whole thing about the ritual, beloveds, is because we all have life force in us, energy. And you see, we misuse this energy. So we don't really see the impact of how powerful it is. Because it's real. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was everything. They say the Word was with the Creator, and the Word was the Creator. And so we have this power, beloveds, which is not just about speaking, but it's about speaking with a certain force behind it that is supposed to have the power to manifest realities, to change realities, to call, magnetically pull into your life, magnetically pull into reality things, you know, from the unseen world into the seen world. But that has been misused so much and diluted so much by the fact that we speak a foreign tongue that has no power, that was created by those that borrow energy. So they had to make it a language of spells, where you're literally, you know, they're literally getting you to booby trap yourself and give them your energy, like without even knowing it. It's crazy when you really go deep into it. But the whole thing is like, so each and every one of us has energy, each and every one of us has a life force. And with this life force, depending on where you are spiritually, you can propel yourself along a certain path. You can pull things faster. So when people, you know, say, you know, sacrifice a chicken or sacrifice a goat, what's literally happening is they're using that little chicken's, you know, life force to achieve something for them, to propel something for them, to call something. They say to, you know, sacrifice a goat to God. You know, I mean, it's just not even going to get too deep into that. But all of that is to, you know, to take the life force of that animal to help you achieve a certain thing. So some sacrifice for power, some sacrifice for wealth, some even sacrifice just for health, some sacrifice for another, you know. So this life force may be used to, you know, sustain another person's life. And so that's why they sacrifice chickens and goats. And if you see now, with just how many, I think they say almost like 1 billion cows or something ridiculous like that are sacrificed daily across the world. You see, they all have life force. It's not just we're eating McDonald's and hamburgers and all these things. Imagine how many chickens are killed all over the world daily. Imagine how many goats are killed all over the world daily. What is happening? Who is capturing the life force of all these animals? The matrix is to keep everything as it is. But they have to, it's a death and destruction. And every single time they have needed to make a major push in the world, they have conducted a major, major blood sacrifice. World War I, World War II, genocide in Rwanda, and many, many others were major blood sacrifices so that they could push their agenda in using the life force of all those people. So for many people on an individual level, like on a family level, when you use the life force of one of your family members, it's much more powerful in propelling you to a position of power. That's why if you look at most politicians in your countries, etc., there's always some son who died just like that, father who died just like that, you know. I mean, and also we see it with the celebrities, because they use the life force of their life members, you know, of their family members, I should say, to kind of propel them to another level. And so at a certain point, you can't use your own energy because your own energy will take you here, but Babylon wants you to go like this, to become a star into the stratosphere. And so that's why they continuously, if you look at the celebrities, and so many videos have been done on this, beloveds, but if you look at the celebrities, I swear every single famous person out there, before they made it super big, either their mama died, look at Kanye, you know, family died in weird circumstances, sister died, and so this helps to propel them. They use that energy to propel them, that life force. But that is all borrowed, and there are consequences to doing that, beloveds. Massive consequences. And that's why we're about to see sugar hit the fan, literally. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Wake up, wake up, wake up! Wake up, Africa! Welcome back, beloveds, to Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. Really do pray that you're well. I hope you've liked the video, beloveds, and shared so that this word can, you know, continue to ride those YouTube algorithms. Thanks to every single person that has subscribed to the channel and who supports us on the Dr. Mumbi Show's spiritual Patreon family, where we share a lot more information. I think they're like 5-10 shows ahead. So today we're talking about blood sacrifices. You see, they say this is a vampire system. I mean, the reggae artists have been saying that for ages. They're not even artists, they're prophets, beloveds. They've been really telling us, you know, it is a vampire system. Babylon is the vampire, beloveds, because Babylon needs the blood sacrifices of others, not just so they can eat the flesh, but so that they can take the energy of that. And that's why we've gotten into this. I mean, everything has been done like with perfect coordination, with perfect plan. That's why they stopped so many of us from being in control of our own food, where if you wanted a chicken, you were directly connected to the killing of the chicken, etc., etc. So you do it kosher. If you were eating those things, you know, many people want to argue whether we were vegetarian based or not plant based. For the majority, we were, but we would do, you know. And now when I think of how my grandmother used to explain how they used to eat meat and stuff, you know, they'd sacrifice one goat and the whole village would eat it. So it was probably a ritual that they were all partaking in, that they didn't know, and everyone would get like a tiny, tiny little piece. But now people will go and order a kilogram of meat here, you know, roasted meat here in Kenya, nyama choma, that's what we call it, and everywhere. But it's like we've been slowly sucked into this blood sacrifice culture, beloveds. And you see, you can't take the life force of something and there be no consequences. That can only happen for a short time. But eventually, you're going to have to pay back. It's like borrowing money and not owning it. And that's what Babylon has done. Babylon has borrowed the life force of so many beings, beloveds, to create this matrix and try and keep it going, and it can't survive like that. And the reason they do that is because they have no life force of their own. And that's something we've never been told. They have no life force of their own. And so they have to survive on the life force of others. They don't have, they're not the dominant rulers, they're not the dominant beings on this planet. But because of all the blood sacrifices that they're continuously doing, they're able to use that life force to always put them on the top of the pyramid. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen this image of like slaves kind of holding us up this table, and then Mzungus around it kind of deciding what's happening in the world. Literally, that's what is happening. Like the ones who don't have power are using and siphoning off the power, the ones who do have power to run the world. And that's what's happening on a massive scale. But even on an individual scale, if you look, you know, if you look at societies and communities, and the fact that everyone has to be, all your major CEOs, beloveds, all your major politicians, all your major media people, sooner or later, they have to make that blood sacrifice in order to kind of enter the field, but to use that force, because they need to get somewhere, you know, like if you were to do it in your own power, you'd have to either refine yourself to a certain level, or you'd have to just work with the energy you have. But now when you use the energy of departed loved ones. You're able to use maybe their years plus your years, you know. Some use blood sacrifices to extend their life. So that person had 20 years, it will kind of give them 10. I mean, you know, it's so deep, beloveds. I don't want to lose people, but, and, you know, and some will use it just the life force of the child, to use the force of that child to kind of double them up. So they're working with two forces to help them in their political, you know, business careers, etc., etc. And that's why people usually sacrifice their own children, so that they can almost be like two humans instead of one. I mean, I don't know if you get it. I'm trying to say it in the most basic and simple way. And so you'll look, I mean, there's nothing to be admired, beloveds, about those in power right now, because the societies are everywhere. The blood cult societies ruling the world. They have lodges in nearly every single country. And it's all like, because they're using this extra power, they've been able to hoodwink the people. But that is over now. That time is done. And, you know, it's payback time. Because you can only borrow. It's like when you go to the bank, beloveds, you can only borrow for so long before you have to start paying back. And it's payback time. They've over-borrowed. They've overloaned themselves on the energy of others, and now that's up. Which is partially why we're seeing the world going into lockdown and everything happening. And apart from the whole blood sacrifice, there's also just the manipulation of our mental energy that also makes us prisoners. But they're able to keep, the world is run on blood, beloveds. And you see, as a highly supreme one, you don't need to sacrifice no one to get the power of 2, 3, 4, 100, 1,000. It's a higher level magic. But you don't need no blood. That's the lowest. The lowest level is this blood sacrifice reality, beloveds. Like, you don't have energy of your own, so you have to go get someone else's energy to achieve your agenda. But those who are the original ones, they're back in their full power, even with all the confusion, beloveds.
That's it, family. I think that's enough said. And we're going to come with the next video, and we're going to do it like that.